Somebody said that Joe Biden threatened to use the United States military to go to people's homes, American citizens' homes, and take their guns. And I said, no, he didn't, and you can't back up that claim. Then this person came in and said, June 30th, 2021, so yes, he did. Except he didn't. Let's go ahead and take a look at June 30th, 2021. I guarantee you this is what the person is talking about from the Firearm Industry Trade Association. As you can see here, June 30th, 2021, President threatens Americans, twist history to push anti-gun agenda. President Joe Biden is at it again. The commander-in-chief quite literally threatened Americans with unprecedented military action in an attempt to justify the most radical anti-gun agenda ever thrust on the nation. No, he didn't. However, facts and even the U.S. Constitution don't matter when it comes to his nouveau interpretation of the Second Amendment. The more President Biden speaks on guns, the more he's turning out to be the least trusted man to understand them and their place in America. This entire opinion piece is rife with bullshit. So it's funny that he mentions facts in his piece, but we go on. President Biden's remarks from the White House, with the U.S. Attorney General standing by his side, completely missed the purpose of the Second Amendment. The president attempted to justify banning modern sporting rifles and standard compact capacity magazines, by reinterpreting the Second Amendment as a constitutional clause to protect hunting in America. Rights, not needs. Biden said no one needs to have a weapon that can fire over 30, 40, 50, even up to 100 rounds unless you think the deer are wearing Kevlar vests or something. He's dead wrong when he said that. It's not about needs, it's about rights. This is where the person writing this article actually gets it correct. It doesn't matter what you think people need, it's what they have a right to own. The article goes on. That's not what the Second Amendment is about. It's a Bill of Rights, not needs, and anytime anyone in the government attempts to dictate to Americans what their needs are, be worried. The president wasn't done, however. And I might add, the Second Amendment from the day it was passed limited the type of people who could own a gun and what type of weapon you could own. You couldn't buy a cannon. Actually, Americans could own cannons then and still can. In fact, America relied on private citizens and their cannons for military success. The Austin American Statement reported this when President Biden attempted to peddle the same falsehood during the presidential campaign. Privateers were privately owned and operated ships that in wartime captured enemy ships for profit, the newspaper reported. While privateers received a license from the government that allowed them to avoid being prosecuted for piracy, they were not a part of the official Navy. So any cannons they set sail with, or any they seized from the enemy, would be private property, not the property of the government or the regular military. Exactly. Washington Post fact-checked the president's preposterous claim not once, but twice, and gave him 4 Pinocchios, the most that can be given. PolitiFact rated the statement as false, as they should have, because it was false. It wasn't bad enough, President Biden went so far as to threaten the use of unprecedented military force against American citizens to make the case to ban guns. No, he didn't. Those who say the blood of the blood of patriots, all the stuff about how we're going to have to move against the government, President Biden explained, well, the tree of liberty is not watered with the blood of patriots. What's happened is that there have never been, if you wanted or if you think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons. That is not threatening the American citizens, you human toenail. That is saying that if you want to take out the government, you're going to need more than your AR-15 because the government has F-15s, nuclear weapons, and drones. That's not threatening the American citizens. That's saying if you want to go take out the government with your pew-pews, like so many of you guys want to do, you better nut up with a little bit something more powerful than your AR-15 collection. The point is that there has always been the ability to rationally limit the type of weapon that can be owned and who can own it. Now, he's correct in that point. Setting aside the fact that this wasn't the first time President Biden threatened military force against American citizens, he's never done so. He actually justified why the framers had the foresight to ensure the American citizens were never left without the means to defend themselves against the tyrannical government. The only part of the president The only part of what the president claimed that came close to the truth was restrictions on who could possess a firearm. The federal government placed no restrictions, but states did. They banned black slaves and indigenous Americans from the right to keep and bear arms. That's hardly a historical point to make, a case for disarming Americans today. As we have noted before, the origins of gun control are rooted in racism. President Joe Biden has never attempted to disarm an American citizen, hence the reason why you haven't been disarmed. It's the same bullshit that we heard when Clinton came in. He's going to come take our guns, and he never did. It's the same thing we heard when Obama came in. He's going to come take our guns, and he never did. It's the same thing we heard when Biden came in. He's going to come take our guns, and he never did. And it's the same thing we're going to hear when the next Democratic president gets elected. And no, he never threatened the American citizens with military force to enact his gun policy. He said, if you want to take on the government, if you feel like we're tyrannical and you need to take up arms against the government, you're going to need a little bit something stronger than what's in your gun safe at home, Puddin'. But then again, I wouldn't expect you to understand this kind of shit, given the fact that you put out content like this.
Hi. I just want to start this video out by apologizing to Donald Trump and his family. Because never in my 49 years walking on this earth have I ever seen anybody endure so much criticism and so much hatred.
You were asleep during the Obama years, huh?
And yet you still try to stand strong. I mean, that's got to be hard. It's got to be hard. I'm sorry. And I see on TikTok day after day after day after day all these hate-mongering people just hating you. Like, you know, like you're not even a human being. They've been treating you this way since before you were elected president, by the way. I proudly voted for you. I'm not here to gloat, but I do. But now I no longer see you as...
He goes on to say he doesn't see him as the former president. He sees him as a human being. He must have been asleep during the Obama years if he's never seen anybody endure this much criticism and hatred. Unaliving threats against the president of the United States spiked by 400% when Obama was elected. It was an unprecedented time. He had a Congress who openly admitted that their only goal in the term that they were serving was to make sure he didn't serve a second term.
You should be ashamed of yourselves. Because I'm here to tell you, I guarantee you, if we was to come and dig in any of your closets, we would find a stack of skeletons.
We're not running for president, Puddin'. You don't think that the person running for president should be held to a higher standard? No, you just feel the need to get on here and apologize to him. God damn.
I was raised by morals. I guess you could say I am a cult, because where I come from, if you didn't like somebody, you left them alone.
Like you did with me? So much for those morals, huh?